Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. The honorable person, our lecturer, and all of our beloved friends. Well, first of all, let's say thanks to Allah because of His blessing we can present this material without any obstacle. We would like to present about evolution. Let's introduce our group. We are from group 5 and for the first speaker is Mial Alfira Kaputri as a moderator and identification student number is 2021540026. The second speaker is Anisha Dewi Putri. Identification student's number is 2021540025. For the third speaker is Nisa Nurajita. Identification student number 2021540088. And the last speaker is Stella Siti Dalianti. Identification student number 2021540085. First, we're going to present about theories of evolution, then we will start with you about natural selection, and then about artificial selection, and last we will share about human evolution, primate ancestor. The first material will be presented by myself. Theories of evolution. Let's start. What is evolution? Evolution in biology is the change or development of living things gradually over a long period of time. The mechanism of evolution. Until the 19th century that scientists came up with plausible mechanism for evolution. The mechanism that is widely accepted among biologists today is called Neo-Darwinism. It is modern theory based on the work century naturalist Charles Darwin. Darwin's theory was based on three main observations. In the first, within a population are organisms with varying characteristics, and these variations are inherited, at least in part by their offspring. And second, organisms produce more offspring than are required to replace their parents. And the third, on average, population numbers remain relatively constant and no population gets bigger indefinitely. Next, the origin of species. Wallace concluded from his research that some organisms live while others die because of difference in their characteristics, such as their ability to resist disease or escape predation. Darwin and Wallace published a paper jointly describing their theory of evolution by natural selection. And last, their reaction to Darwin. His theory is supported by so much evidence that the majority of biologists accept it. Evolution by natural selection has become a central theme which underpins much of modern biology. The modern theory of evolution is called Neo-Darwinism because it incorporates new scientific evidence, particularly from genetics and molecular biology. For the second material will be presented by Anissa Dwi Putri. Time is yours.
Well, thanks to moderator, and next I will explain Opted 2 about natural selection. Natural selection, referred to in the theory of evolution, is the theory that living creatures who have been unable to adapt to their environment will gradually become extinct. Or that is live objects who are able to adapt to their environment and will living things complete for their own survival. Survival of the fittest. Darwin had the idea that natural selection is the mechanism that drives evolution. Darwin concluded that populations are kept in check by a struggle for existence, as they compete for limited resources and are exposed to disease. These include 1. Competition for resources such as food and a place in which to live. 2. Predation. 3. Lack of light, water, or oxygen. Natural selection by survival of the fittest means the genetic characteristics of a population gradually change from generation to generation in response to change in the environment. Three types of natural selection. 1. Stabilizing selection happen in an unchanging environment. 2. Directional selection. This type of selection usually follows some kind of environmental change. 3. Disruptive selection. Select again intermediate phenotype and preferred choose at the extreme. This leads to a bimodal distribution. The distribution curve has two peaks or modes, and to overlapping group of phenotype. If the two groups become unable to interbreed, then each population may give rise to a new species. Thanks for your attention. I return it to moderator.
Thanks to Anissa Dwi Putri. For the third material will be presented by Nisa Nur Aziza. Time is yours.
Well, thanks to moderator, and next I will explain to text 3 about atypical selection. Atypical selection. Next, atypical selection, the cultivation of wheat. Atypical selection is therefore similar to directional selection. In that selection, pressure brings about a gradual change in the phenotype of a group of organisms, while wheat shades in grains as soon as they arrive. This makes harvesting difficult. The next stage in the cultivation of wheat would have been the deliberate selection of varieties with desirable qualities. Eventually, over many generations, the variety of cultivated wheat changed. Next, inbreeding. Inbreeding is carried out to try and retain the desirable character in future generations. In wheat, desirable characters include the first, high yield. The second, short stem allowing the plant to devote more energy to the production of seeds, which have a much higher value than straw from stem. The third, burst resistance, for example, to fungal, mold, and rust. And the last, high protein content of the grain. Outbreeding involves crossing individuals from genetically distinct strains. The offspring from such a cross are called hybrids. In the parental stocks are pure breeding. The offspring are called F1 hybrid. Outbreeding depends on the availability of genetically distinct animals and plants. It is therefore important to maintain sources of genetic diversity. This may be done by maintaining seed banks of all or wild varieties of plants. The genetic diversity of wheat, rice, cabbages, and carrots is maintained in this way. Thanks for your attention. I return it to moderator.
Thanks to Anissa Nur Aziza, and the last material will be presented by Sela Siti Dalianti. Time is yours.
Well, thanks to moderator, and next I will explain update 4 about human evolution primate ancestor. Human evolution primate ancestor, adaptation of primate. About 17.5 million years ago, some of these insectivores adopted an arboreal 3D wheeling model of life and evolved in the lemurs-like primates. The adaptation of these ancestral primates to their new tree-living model of life are thought to have included a short nose, large eyes, and prominent ears, long flexible fingers with nail-like claws, and teeth well adapted for eating insects. Human evolution primate ancestor. Many other features that evolved in ancestral primates as adaptation to an arboreal life have been retained by modern primates. These features include a prehensile grasping limb, a mobile forearm, well-developed stereoscopic vision, a reduced sense of smell, and a specialized digestive system, a skull modified for upgraded posture, reduced number of upstream, a larger brain, social grasping. Human evolution primate ancestor. The groups of modern primates. The Frost means are represented today by lemurs, lories, and tarsiers, and the arthropods by monkeys, apes, and humans. There are several differences between Old World monkey and New World monkey which show their first evolution. For example, the nostrils of monkeys from South America are wide open and far apart, and New World monkeys have a long tail that is prehensile adapted for grasping branches. The nostrils of monkeys from Africa and Asia are narrow and close together, and no Old World monkey has a prehensile tail. Thanks for your attention. I return it to moderator.
I would like to close this presentation with a conclusion. The conclusion is, human is evolved, but someone created them, whereas according to Darwin's theory that humans came from one cell and came from an ancestor. And there was evolution to humans because humans didn't adapt to their environment. And the fact that is believed that is theory based on unnatural biology, while in Darwin's theory of evolution there are still many questions because his theory has been protested by first scientists. As for natural selection itself is possible, because in order to survive, the creator must adapt to the environment. Okay, that's all material. Maybe do you have any question or anybody would like to ask? You can write or send your voice note in WhatsApp group. We will be happy to answer any question if you might have now. And finally, thank you so much for your great attention. Hopefully we can learn this assignment and will give benefits for us. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.